Gayatri Mahamantra with your back straight, both hands upon your laps, left beneath the right. Om Bhurabhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva Maheshwara, Guru Deva Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha, Akhanda Mandalakaram, Vyaptam Yena Characharam, Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha, Om Shri Guruve Namaha, Vyasrupena Vahayami Sthapyami, Dhyayami Pujyami Tato Namaskaram Karomi. Shrimed Bhagavad Gita. VibhutiYoga, Slok number 7. Let's come down to the Slok and try to understand it from its words. Etam vibhutim yogena cha mama yah vetti tattvataha sah avikampena yogena yujyate na atra sanchayaha. The verse conveys something which is at a transcendental state for those who are the exalted ones. Understand it this way, not getting much involved into the Sanskrit, but trying to have the derivative out of it. What is the main deliverable? The shlok is conveying the state of a person who is watching a puppet show, where the puppeteer is hidden, the puppets are playing on the stage, and the story is being orchestrated through them. It's moving through them. They're fighting, dancing, rejoicing, talking to each other. And children, when they get engrossed into puppet show, it's almost realism for them. Now, there is a mature person, a wise person standing in the puppet show. And he chooses to stand, the wise one, chooses to stand not on the front where exactly the puppet show is going on, but on the side of the curtain behind which the puppeteer is manipulating the puppets. Now, that person who is standing on the side of that curtain or wall, whatever, or obstruction, there he is able to see both at the same time. He is watching the puppets dancing, playing, talking. He is also able to see at the same time the puppeteer manipulating through his hands, through his fingers, all movements that are transpiring in the puppets. And the show is going on. So, this person who is standing on the side is watching the puppets move, act. He's watching the puppeteer manipulating those puppets, both at the same time. And he is very well able to see why any puppet is able to perform any move, because the corresponding finger of the puppeteer is right now moving in a particular direction. So everything of that puppet show is bare before him, naked before him. There is nothing which is hidden. There is nothing which can convey him the independence of the puppets. There is no sovereignty enjoyed by the puppets. It's all a manipulation at the hands of the puppeteer. Here, do not take this example like a blanket to all understandings that you behold. It may be fatal. Because if you take this understanding as a blanket to all aspects of life, then what you will say is then there is no need for me to act. If everything has to be transpired by the puppeteer, then where am I? I'll come down to that also. I know something of this kind is going to creep and crop up. Here, the state of that person, mature person, wise person, who is able to see the puppets and the puppeteer both at the same time, has been termed here as someone who holds a stillness within itself, a yogi of the highest order, where his insight is still because he is not moved by the movement of the puppets, the dialogue of the puppets. He is not even oblivion to the main manipulation being done at the back end. He is watching everything. For him, there is no awe and there is no oh, no awe, no oh. For him, everything is sameness because he is watching it happening. This particular shlok conveys to the timeless Arjuna, see Arjuna, I am the source to all manifestations. The entirety of the manifestation owes its source to whom? To me, that is the Brahma. But everything is not getting manifested at my own end. Though I am the source of all manifestation, but the manifestation is transpiring through an enjoyment, a yoga, through Maya. Maya is enabling me manifest. I am the source of manifestation, undoubtedly. But my manifestation is becoming possible through a yoga, which is Maya. So, me being furthered by Maya, a system. It's me. Whatever you see, wherever you see excellence of the highest order, it's me and me alone, nothing else. But what is enabling that manifestation is Maya. Now, it's the example, the illustration that I've given you a while ago, now can be understood. The show on the stage, which we see in this world through our sensorial organs, we observe, we witness everything ongoing in front of us, is like the puppet show. Whereas the original source of the entire manipulation of the puppets is behind the curtain. We are not able to see that. That is why we are so engrossed into the all occurrences of the life. We get so involved that when there is a moment of joy, we dance, we rejoice. When there is a moment of sorrow, we go into distress. There is a lot of disgruntlement, unhappiness. So we travel both extremes, the polarities, good and bad, attraction and repulsion. Because we are only able to watch the show and not something which is being manipulated at the back end. We're not able to see that. Whereas an exalted yogi, one who has accomplished, he acquires an inner state of balance, equanimity to such an extent. Now, nothing can perturb, nothing can come and create any tribulation into him. He is able to see everything happening. So, for him, the only thing that prevails is the sameness. One who is watching the manipulation at the back end, one who is watching the show in front, for him, there is nothing left which can hold any special interest because he is witness to everything happening. He knows the source of every single move of the movement of the puppet. It's at the back end. So when that sameness is acquired, inner equanimity, sthit pragya is acquired, Arjuna, then there is no return ticket, no going back. Return tickets are not issued for these people. Return ticket mean they will not come and manifest again as humans unless they desire to accomplish a specific objective at the behest of the cosmic resolve. They will not come and take birth. They are gone and gone with their free will forever. without any bound and limits. So they are the ones, Arjuna, who can see me, the source for all excellence, at the same time also observe the intermediary power, which is Maya, enabling that manifestation. Since they can see both the enabling intermediary and also the source of all excellence, for them it is sameness. They have no hue and cry, for they have no change to come, no change to witness. For them, everything is the same. Having said this particular aspect, one thing should be removed from the mind when you understand the illustration that there is a puppeteer manipulating the acts of the puppets. Does it also translate into a way that all and every activity of our life is being orchestrated or manipulated by someone at the back end, maybe the creator? Is it so? Not exactly. Why? Because there is a tiny God in each one of us. Jivatma mein Ishwar ka vas. Every soul, every Jivatma, each Jivatma has a tiny God within it, the tiny portion of Almighty within itself. Jivatma mein Paramatma ka ansh. And at the same time, because of that, we are vested with the specific discretionary power, which is termed as what? Which is termed as what? It is termed as adhikara. What is that adhikara? Choice. Adhikara is not the right. Adhikar means right. No, here it means choice. Don't you recall that famous verse of Bhagavad Gita? Karmanye vadhikaraste, karmani ev adhikaraha. What is adhikar there? The right to choose. If a synonym has to be given, a befitting synonym has to be given to Arjuna, then it is choice, choice, and choice. Choice to act, choice not to act, choice to act rightfully, choice to act wrong. So it is the choice, the discretionary power vested into Arjuna to act. Although the entire outcome is not the domain of Arjuna, because Arjuna cannot script the outcome, because outcome is also going to depend upon several other factors which are going to impact the final outcome. But the right to act, the choice finally is vested with the Arjuna. So this removes that iota of doubt that may have crept up into your mind, which wants to usurp everything by saying, if everything has to be orchestrated, manipulated by someone, some trickster, almighty trickster at the back, then for what am I going to act for? Nothing. Everything is accomplished, written, scripted. I am just here as a puppet. No, you are not here as a puppet. In the larger game plan, you have an active role. That is where the illustration differs from the actual cosmic dance going on in this creation. The illustration we pick up from the mortal plane cannot exactly justify whatever is transpiring at the cosmic plane. We can approximate our understanding through illustrations. Some nearness can be acquired, but exactness cannot be understood because we are talking about two different realms. In the exactness of the cosmic dance, we behold the right to act. We behold the right to choose, rather, to choose. And that is where the discretionary element of Arjuna can change the face of affairs from negative to positive, from failure to success, from good to bad, and vice versa. Although the slok does not go and outreach this understanding, but I have deliberately intruded into a different direction just in order to take care of any creeping thought which may take the seeker and give itself an understanding that if everything has been orchestrated by a manipulator, then why should I act? The shlok only conveys one who is a witness to my manifestation and me as the source of entire manifestation acquires a settled state of insight from where there is no return. There is no return. That is the understanding we derive from this shloka. Okay, but that is not our state today. We are not in that state, that exalted state where we can say that we are watching this happening, transpiring before us. Then what is the exact deliverable to us? What do we take away? The takeaway from this understanding is to resize, modify, and reconstitute your ego whenever it becomes inflated by your own identity. When the ownership for doing anything good, excelling best in any stream of your life, when the ownership rises beyond the limits and provides you nothing but baseless ego, it's better that you draw the meaning from this, the understanding from this verse, which conveys, Arjuna, it is me and me alone. Accept it, that excellence of any order pertains to whom? It, and it alone. It means Krishna, not me. I may be the source for that, source for its manifestation to the outside world, but I am not it. It's not my property. It's coming through me, but it's not my property. This kind of an understanding resizes the ego. Ego becomes the barrier. It can cast a very thick veil upon one's understanding and remove that element of judicious contemplation, justifiably contemplating upon any subject. Your discriminative intelligence will suffer badly if the veil of ego comes before you. When you start citing everything from a prism of ego, what is going to be the outcome? The ownership will exceed its limits. Creativity shall cease to remain. And so many wrong decisions are going to then transpire, leading you towards what? Leading you towards chaos and failures, maybe in longevity. So, ego has to be resized. And there is no external agency which is going to come and resize my ego. It is me and me alone who has to take the reins into the hand and reprimand myself whenever there is a moment I see, I notice the inflation, the inflated form of ego rising within me. At that moment, I have to remind it does not own, I can't own it. It is owned by Keshava because he owns, he is alone the bestower of Vibhuti. It has been coming through me as a medium, but I don't own it. It's Him manifesting. If it is Him manifesting through me, then I have no rhyme and reason to unnecessarily inflate my individuality under the spell of ego and veil upon my discriminative intelligence and then not been able to conclude the rightful decisions in the course of my own pursuit, primary pursuit in life. Your primary pursuit could be spiritual, business, familial, anyone, any could be there. So, to keep the prism clean, to keep your discriminative intelligence pure, it is necessary there is no veil of ego cast upon your understanding. And this verse reminds all of us that anything which is excellence, it is owned by it and not me. It alone owns it. Vibhuti is its domain. We are only channels for that. The channel cannot have the ownership. If the source will dry, the source will cease to provide. What is the channel going to do? Imagine about those pipelines from where the source of water has been now checked, stopped. However long spread of pipeline the network may be, without a drop of water, what meaning do they carry? They're meaningless. They hold no value at all because the value is not only in the pipelines, the value is in the source, the water, wherever it is coming from. So the pipeline, the network of pipeline has no right to unnecessarily inflate their individuality and claim that it is mine. Water is mine. It is coming through you, not yours. You will all dry and become dead if there is no source. The beatitude is beheld by the source. You have a role to play in service to this source, in service to the manifestation of this source, but you don't have any other identity. Once we remind this to ourselves, because at times what happens is we overstretch upon our individuality, our ego, and unnecessarily try to perpetuate certain unpleasant situations that should be given justice to a limited extent. Someone shared a hard word, you felt bad, very bad. Now there has to be a limit given to it. I would not go beyond it. I would not perpetuate and conspire against that person. If I do so, now I am working not at the behest of some important objective, but at the behest of a service to my own inflated, injured ego. Let me draw out my pure ego out of that injured one and ensure that my journey of my primary pursuit is not hampered. Lot many vital projects, yojanaएं, we have observed them in the entire world at different places, have suffered merely because of one reason. There was no deficiency, there was no problem, there was no paucity of resources, except that someone at the helm felt the ego injured and then acted fatal against the primary objective, and everything had to be shelved. Everything went down the drain just because of one person observing ego injury. Maybe that is more of a self injury, yes, caused to yourself. If that can happen, then small issues in our life can bring a perpetuating series of injuries to us. So, the deliverable of the verse is one hand, the exact state of the exalted ones who are witness to the source of excellence, Brahma, and something which is manifesting the source is the Maya. They can see Brahma and Maya interplaying or acting at the same time. So they undergo the sameness within inner equilibrium, sthita pragya. Then they have no attraction or repulsion left. And there is another deliverable for a common mind, and that is disallow, disallow any inflation, any inflated individuality that might try to rise by taking absolute ownership of anything that you excel good upon. You do best. Don't grip the recognition to an extent that you veil your own job, your own task, your own excellence, your own work. Don't veil it by yourself. Be in your own size, rightfully removing all superimpositions of ego from your individuality, becoming bare in the interest of your primary pursuit, whether familial, professional, spiritual, or else. This is the understanding and the takeaway from this particular verse. That was all for today. ओम ही सत्य है, ओम ही सत्य है, ओम ही सत्य है।